It's still a row. Onto our Bolan special package, which is something I've pestered the producers for an age, and swiped personally from the BBC onto the excesses of Channel 4 to aid and abet our Mark Bolan special is John Peel. John, you were what's the word?
Instrumental.
Instrumental, that's the one. In discovering and building up Mark with Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, these people discover themselves, obviously, but I mean, he sent us an acetate and some tapes when I was still on Radio London on the pirate ship, and I've always liked people who have sort of like extreme voices, you know what I mean? Like Captain Beefheart. Anybody's got like a different kind of a voice, so I was very much attracted to that. Made arrangements to meet him when I came off the ship one weekend, and we got on really well, you know, and we did all of the things which hippies used to do, like going to Glastonbury tour. And I impressed him very much by knowing the date of the building on top of it, you know, and stuff like this. And we went to Stonehenge and did all that kind of thing.
What was it about him, though, that separated him from the others? Because you've got a reputation of being a major breaker of new bands. What was it particularly about Mark that made you think this is someone special?
Well, I suppose, you know, just, I mean, it's difficult to articulate that because it makes you feel good, you know, and you like it, and you think you'd like other people to hear it. I used to get booked to do gigs in places like Exeter. I remember going to Exeter University with them, and I used to say, well, I'll come along and do the gig if I can bring this little band with me, you know, and we used to get paid like 50 quid for the three of us to go there. And I used to rent a car, and you could get all of the equipment that Tyrannosaurus Rex used into the boot of a Mini, because it's all like pixie phones, you know, and stuff like this, and little bongos and stuff.
So it was true then at one time, the rumour's true that you insisted that if someone booked you, then they booked you.
Oh, very much so, yes. We used to do a lot of that.
And you even used to read stories, didn't you?
That's right, yes. I read a very embarrassing...
An old skeleton jangling around in a BBC man's cupboard there.
Read a very embarrassing... Actually sat on the stage of the Royal Albert Hall and read out one of Mark's stories. Which, but this is not one of these, but these are little books which he sent me.
It's a bit of memorabilia.
Yeah, like back in the hippie days. There you go.
Mark's writing, folks.
There you go, actually authentically. But these are a bit scruffy because my children still read them. But this has got a nice little thought because he had nice thoughts.
What does it say?
It says, ills are merely one's bed. Illness, you say, illness is merely one's bed feeling neglected and making you snuggle in for a cuddle.
Oh, how sweet.
That's very nice. Do you want to hear another one?
Well, sadly, there isn't time, and this is Channel 4, and we're now going to go and see some of the magic of Mark Bolan and T-Rex. So keep your videos running, and now watch the magic with John and I.
Besides being like an original punk in his way, he was the original glitter king too. I mean, he was wearing glitter, as he used to like to say, before Mick Jagger. You know, he was the first one into all of that. Before Bowie was dressing up early, you know, and they were great friends. Not a down on David. I just thought Mark was a great innovator, you know, and he was always good fun.
He made it glamorous. He stopped wearing jeans. Up until that time, everyone had very long hair and they wore jeans and they tried to sort of blend into the background and do this sort of drony, druggy type music.
Glitter over the eyes.
And he just came out dressed up and created some very exciting sounds and made everyone realize that they've been missing that aspect for years. I mean, after all, it was pure rock and roll that he finally came up with when he went electric.
Friends is fine, friends is good. Everybody says it's just like Robin Hood. Move like a cat, charge like a ram, spin like a wheel, babe, I wanna be your man. Well, it's plain to see you were meant for me, and I'm your toy, your 20th century toy.
anyone who does something like he did is definitely ahead of his time, like as David Bowie always was. Mark was certainly ahead of his time. He was a rock star in the days when it was very unfashionable to be a rock star. Everyone was sort of losing their egos, and he was really building one up.
It's often been said that Mark could only play about 7 chords. Is that true?
That's all you need.
Bob is alright, Bob is alright. He's a electrical boy, he's just got jungle face Jake, jungle face Jake. I think make no mistake, that jungle face Jake. Telegram Sam, you're my baby. Telegram Sam, you're my baby. Woo! Some people like to rock. Give us a chance. Some people like to roll.
We got real friendly before the film, and he was offered, someone was offering him money, a lot of money, to make this movie of his concert. And we were sitting around talking about it. I said, well, I was running Apple Films at the time, so I said, well, look, I'll put up the cameras and the crew and everybody. You put up yourself. And we'll share, because, you know, everyone gets ripped off by those companies.
But it was a kind of mixture between the rock concerts, wasn't it? Was it Wembley Empire Pool?
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of mixture between that and fantasy, wasn't it?
Well, yes, because I was real bored. At that time, there was a lot of rock shows being filmed. And the atmosphere isn't the same when you're sitting in the audience in a cinema, you know, it loses something. So I convinced Mark that, you know, I think it should be more than just filming his show. And so, you know, Mark's, I think he loved more than being a pop star was that his big line was, you know, I'm the biggest selling poet in Britain, which he was at the time.
The one that brings a smile to my face is Hot Love. It was the first time we actually used a drum kit. It's a lot of firsts in that. The first time we used a big string orchestra. And I remember it was #1 for 3 weeks, and I went back to America. I could finally afford to go back to America on a holiday to see my little gray-haired mom and dad after 3 years. And I was there for 3 weeks, and I came back to the UK and found that Hot Love was still #1.
She ain't not a witch, and I love the way she treats you, Well, she ain't not a witch, and I love the way she treats you, I'm her too pretty prince, and I'll give her heart love. La 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 la. 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 Ooh, do what you do. La 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 la. 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 You're so sweet, you're so fine. I want your all and everything, just to be mine. 'Cause you're my baby. 'Cause you're my love.
I think a lot of his music, like a lot of ours, holds up today, you know? And he had a certain, his music had a certain attitude with the words, and he did have a definite sound. And he was the sound. I mean, he could have played with anyone, but it was Mark's guitar and his vocals that gave it something that remains.
Shout, let it all hang out. When you can bump and grind, it's good for your mind, but you won't fool the children of the revolution. No, you won't fool the children of the revolution. No, no, no. If it's good for your mind, when you can twist and shout, let it all hang out, but you won't fool the children of the revolution. No, you won't fool the children of the revolution. No.
Well, that film really brought back some fantastic memories to me, and sitting...
Test presents Paul Young and the Royal Family.
We're living on free food tickets.